You know, you could make a case, and I do all the time, about the validity of HDR recording on the set. I think it's pretty unnecessary. I think it's a safety thing, and it comes from a lot of computer scientists saying, hey, you know, let's get this, and it's an exact match, and we can do anything with it later on. What they're actually doing is delaying the decision. And I think, like a director and a cameraman makes the decision on the set, there's nothing wrong with making a decision and living with it. It means you have to focus more at that time, make that decision, and move on. So the way I like to treat this stuff is, and I'm in a minority in the industry doing this, in the effects industry at least, is you know what you want when you go in there, and you respond quickly to the director and the cameraman and the set and all that sort of stuff. So say coming to the creature sequence in this, you've got all your close-ups, you've got some medium shots. The wide shots, you know Larry had no time to light anything. You know there was no creature in there for him. You don't ask him to, but you also don't take the reference and say this means anything, because it doesn't. Any sort of HDR, photos of the entire environment that you're going to use later on really mean virtually nothing at that point. You can make a case that, oh, it does. But, those shots in a real movie might be shot 3 days later. The camera would be farther back shooting a bigger area, say. They would have completely relit for that area. And of course, because they never shot those, they never did any of those things. And I think you just trust your eyes. So what I do is when I get back, we always have to make up newer wide shots. And we do them with models or CG and caves, and then we put the creature in. I make those decisions based on with my eyes. I look at the rest of the sequence. I look at what dramatically I want to see. Do I want this corner to be brighter? Do I want it to be darker? Do I want the light to come from down here or up there? But you sort of build it up as opposed to sort of like taking all this data and throwing some of it away, which I think is kind of backwards. And I know that a lot of good cameramen say that that's actually the wrong way to work, that people used to light things and they would take the light away till it looked good. Other guys say, no, that's not the way to do it. You start with nothing and you add it where you need it. And that's more of my way of doing it. And I think that coming in with what you think is this useful data keeps you from creating the shot from nothing, as opposed to taking it away. I think it's important for the effects supervisor to be on the set and to talk to the DP, and even more than that, look at what he's doing as much as he can. Doesn't mean he's there all the time, but he knows the style of instruments he's got. He knows how he's cheating on every single shot to get that shot to be the best, and yet when you see it in the movie, it looks like there was no cheating done at all. And that cheating is fine. That's not really cheating, it's art. And you're trying to make each shot perfect, And I think that that's just something that's kind of been lost by the idea of let's get all this data on the set and let's come back and then we put it on our CG character and then we say things like that's our starting point. Now we'll go in and light it to look right. I think too many people think that's also the ending point. Yeah, I think we've gone this sort of way because of there's not enough people that have the time to learn how to do it another way. This way you can kind of turn into a factory. You can get the data on the set, you can bring it back, people can learn how just to bring that data in without having to know how to light it, and you're 50% there, or whatever. I think that's the reason it's in place. I think we need, though, to start taking time to look at why we're doing it in the first place, and how we do it to look better. And I've done a lot of research on this. I'm kind of writing a book on the subject. And I think what came in with rotoscoping, for example, in Snow White and at the Fleischer Studios in the late 30s for animation was exactly the same problem we've got right now. There were artists that were great animators, but there were maybe only 10 of them at Disney. And suddenly he wants to do a live action film, or he wants to do 20 shorts a year instead of 3 shorts a year. And you somehow have to figure out a way to get the quality level up. And rotoscoping was a way of doing that worked, because it took the timing of the performance off the animators area and into the shoot, the reference shoot that was done with a director and live actors. So they wouldn't do the whole movie that way, but they would do an awful lot of it that way. And I think that's what we're kind of at right now.